Ambulance is directed by Michael Bay and stars Jake Gyllenhaal, Yael Abdul-Mateen II, Ayaza Gonzalez, and among others. And in this story, it deals with two brothers that are basically trying to rob a bank and end up taking this ambulance office, this paramedic hostage in this ambulance, and they're essentially trying to evade the police, among other things. And I'll leave it there because there's some stuff I can't really get into detail without spoiling anything. Now, here's some backstory. Now, I've actually been a avid fan of Michael Bay's movies from like a lot of his earlier work, and other than some of the movies that he's done that's part of like major franchises, including the Transformers movies and the Turtles movies and things like that, for the most part, I've always enjoyed Michael Bay's direction movies and he always just has a great style that I've always admired with a lot of his films, and they've not only made really great entertaining flicks, but also ones that I hold true as really great movies, including 13 Hours, Pain and Gain, even some of his earlier ones like Bad Boys, The Rock, and so on. And so when I was hearing that this movie was coming out, it seemed like Bay was trying to go back is still sticking to doing more original movies and trying to shift away from the franchises like the Transformers movies and stuff. And so it got me interested, especially with how the movie kind of looked like it was going to be like a cross between Speed and also like Crank or something like that. From its high kinetic style and everything. And so upon finally seeing the film, I can say that I did quite enjoy this movie a lot. It's definitely one that I consider quite a very fun and very engaging film, and also emotional at times too. And so to get my pros out of the way, I can say that the performances in this were fantastic. I thought Jake Gyllenhaal and Yael Abdul-Mateen II had great chemistry. I thought their performances were really sharp, were fantastic, especially Jake Gyllenhaal plays a very unhinged, kind of over the top at times, but very, he's about to snap kind of guy. And some of his lines and his chemistry between him and his brother, I thought were very fantastic, and how they bicker back and forth with each other. And you can see that this is a guy that's not very stable, and there's something about him where he's about to lose at any moment. And then you have Yael Abdul-Mateen II's character, who's trying to essentially be like the everyman equivalent, that's just trying to do. He's basically caught in the situation that he wanted to do, but he knows the risk that's going to go involve it. But the way it turns out, it's like he has to really be the more straightforward type of the group. The same thing goes with Ayaza Gonzalez, who's trying to essentially hold the two together, while she's also trying to push herself into essentially saving an event that goes down where she's trying to save another person's life at the same time. And basically, as the movie goes along, you really start to feel the dynamic with all three of them. And there's also something very interesting I found fascinating about Gonzalez's character, who kind of starts out as kind of just one that just is more just does her job and everything. And as the movie goes along, you start to see a lot more of the arc that really develops with her character, especially towards the end, where she's starting to really find herself a lot more engaging in order to really feel for the people that she's around. And then as the movie also, one of the other things I got to really appreciate the movie the most is that in regards to its story, is there is a lot of things where you're dealing with more than just a straightforward evading the police kind of movie, where you're having to essentially deal with a lot more stakes that end up growing throughout the movie, especially when you get to learn more things that are involved that that shows a lot of reveals about Jake Gyllenhaal's character that I found very interesting, and the way it plays out, it almost kind of reminds me of like some of the ways that the movie plays out with its like scenes and stuff. It did kind of remind me a little bit of like the unofficial version of the Kane and Lynch Dead Man, the movie adaptation, because I remember for a long time they were trying to do a movie about that. And there are at least a couple scenes in this film that remind me straight out of that video game that I kind of wonder if Michael Bay took some inspiration for. Maybe not necessarily story beats, but at least scene beats that kind of remind me of that. But anyway, going into my other pros, I really got to appreciate the direction that Bay does in this film, especially a lot of the chase sequences that the ambulance is going through the film, trying to evade the police, and a lot of the stuff where they're trying to fuck with them here, where the police are trying to fuck with them here and there. I thought really put a lot of the stakes higher in this, and there is some interesting stuff they set up with later, but that falls into more of my cons, where as much as I was really getting into the movie a lot, especially with how it plays out, there is some things that hold it back from being great, especially some things that they reveal later in the movie that feel very unexpected at times, and it seems like we're not really given a good like leeway into the way it plays out, and it seems like we're not spending a whole lot of time development wise to really, kind of really grasp of what's going on with some of the characters they introduce later. And so that was one of my other issues, because it felt like it was just a big, it was like they were leading up to a big climax that happens, and then it kind of shifts into a different movie altogether. That while it's cool, it seems like there was a lot more to it than where we're going with, and it really feels like it was very quick. The movie it had a very quick climax. And then one of my other cons is that I did feel like there's some stuff in there that they throw in with certain lines and stuff in the dialogue that did feel like kind of cheap lines here and there that kind of were not really too funny at times, because it was just references to like some of Bay's movies that was very on the nose, and it was just kind of like, I get what you're doing, Michael Bay, but it's like, you might want to cut back on this, on self-referencing your other films in this. That got annoying for a couple times, but it didn't hold the movie too back with it. But other than that, I found myself, very involved with the movie as it played along, and with that, I'm going to give the movie a high compelling grade on the Film Freaks meter. So, for those of you who have also seen Ambulance, let me know in the comments below what you thought about it, and also let me know about what your thoughts on on Michael Bay's other films. And thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, and I'll see you in my next review. I'll see you later.